Hey, I'm Steven and this is Solving the Money Problem. If you're new, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. If you're a long-term viewer of this channel, I'm sure you'll recall when I first launched Solving the Money Problem close to 2 years ago, I whipped out my crystal ball and made a number of predictions that have since come to pass. Beyond the obvious Tesla stock was headed to the moon, another of my predictions we're seeing come to pass is that Tesla short sellers one by one are dropping like flies, capitulating, seeing the light and realizing, oh, they're not actually going bankrupt after all. There is actually demand. I'm a complete and utter moron. Silly me. And today, another Tesla short seller finally bites the dust. Now, I want to be really clear before we dive into today's video. It's never anything personal here. I don't know this guy. I don't know any of these short sellers who I continually roast. However, I'm more than happy to share my thoughts on their faulty thinking and errors in judgment. And that is exactly what we'll be doing in today's video. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. It's truly incredibly embarrassing how dumb smart people can sometimes be. They make the same mistake over and over and over. I can give you guys the too long didn't read on every single Tesla short seller in the history of time. Ready? They misjudge Elon Musk's character. They think he's dishonest. They therefore assume that the company's going to zero. They can't see past their own emotional biases. They never get out of this headspace. They short the company until they run out of money, or they finally give up and go, well, you know what? Elon's still a bad person. He's still dishonest, but I'm going to stop shorting the stock because the stock market's dumb and therefore f*** you, Elon Musk and Tesla. Now, I know I'm generalizing here, but guess what? I'm right. There are no exceptions. Every single Tesla short seller, it's the same embarrassing story. Here's more. In every single one of these cases, these Tesla short sellers whose ability to see Elon for who he truly is clouded. Their ability to see the company for what it truly is clouded because their emotions are getting in the way. And then they go down these crazy rabbit holes and conspiracies. Well, there must be accounting fraud. Oh, look, there's cars in the car park. Therefore, there's no demand. Oh my God, this company's going bankrupt. The same mistake over and over and over and over. I feel sorry for these people. I feel embarrassed on their behalf. How dumb can you be? How blind can you be? How can you make the exact same errors in reasoning and judgment as every other clown who shorted Tesla stock? It's the same story. It is truly incredible. It's pitiful and embarrassing. It's like a needy, nice guy pleaser beta male who keeps getting rejected by woman after woman after woman. Thinking to himself, if I just prove what a nice guy I am, if I just do enough favors for her, if I just listen to enough of her problems and just be there for her, surely she's going to realize what a nice guy I am and stop dating all those jerks and assholes. And much like these pathetic nice guys continually get rejected by women, remain forever alone, and crank themselves to sleep every night, and eventually capitulate and decide that all women are whores, women are trash, it's all women's fault, buy themselves a blow-up doll and become an incel, we see a similar pathetic pattern of capitulation recurring with almost every single Tesla short seller. Rather than reassess their judgment of Elon Musk and, well, hang on a minute, you know what? I thought he was lying about everything, but he's actually been delivering on all those promises. I mistook him being a little bit optimistic for timelines for being a compulsive liar. He actually has executed on all the plans that he said he was going to execute on. Tesla is actually doing what they said they were going to do. I was wrong about Elon Musk. Hang on a minute. Maybe there is an accounting fraud after all. Wait a minute. There is an accounting fraud. I'm an idiot. Instead, we have a semi-capitulation where these clowns still hang on to their prior judgment of Elon Musk being a liar, dishonest, deceptive, etc. But for whatever reason, they decide, you know what, I can no longer short Tesla stock. Maybe they realize, oh, there is demand. They are actually selling vehicles. But none of them seem able to fully let go of their deluded thesis around Tesla, accounting fraud, lack of demand, and Elon's supposed dishonesty and lack of integrity. There's a very valuable lesson here. Prematurely and inaccurately judging somebody's character and values can cause you to make colossally stupid decisions. And in the case of Tesla and Elon Musk, lose astonishing amounts of money. So with that said, let's watch the latest in a series of videos exposing the repeated, faulty, predictable thinking of Tesla short sellers. If you love crypto, stocks, and free stuff, or just want to help out the channel, check out these great offers. BlockFi are launching the world's first Bitcoin rewards credit card. People in the US can earn 1.5% Bitcoin back on every purchase with no annual fee using the BlockFi Bitcoin rewards credit card. Check out the link in the description. And for a limited time, you can get up to $250 in crypto bonuses when funding a new account on BlockFi, where you can use cryptocurrency to earn interest, borrow cash, and buy or sell crypto. If you want your free crypto, use the link in the description. And if you'd like up to 2 free stocks, check out the link in the description to WeBull. If you open a new account, you'll get 1 free stock valued up to $300 just for opening an account. And if you make an initial deposit of $5 or more, you'll get a second free stock valued up to $2,000. Seriously, Free stocks? Yes, please. And finally, if you're in Australia, the UK, or New Zealand, you can get a free stock with stake, also linked in the description. Thanks so much for your support, guys. Let's get back to it. First of all, let's see what this bloke had to say. By the way, you guys know bloke, is that an Australian thing? Let's see what this bloke had to say about Elon Musk and Tesla back in early 2019. Oh, and by the way, guys, just for a little bit of contrast, I've just tallied up all the Tesla stock that I happened to own back when this segment went to air, March 2019. As of March 2019, I had exactly 3,430 shares of Tesla stock. That's split adjusted at the same point that he had this to say.
It's not a major position for us, but in our view, the company is likely to go bankrupt. Can't tell you exactly when, but that's pretty much our bear thesis on it.
So when you see that they've lowered the price of what is likely to be their most voluminous vehicle in the future to $35,000, is that something that concerns you, given that it might use up more cash building it than it makes profit-wise, given the cut in price?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem that there's a way for them to be profitable on selling the car at $35,000, and there are also signs that demand is really not there anymore for the higher priced Model 3s, Model S's, Model X's, and kind of doubt that even for this stripped down version of the Model 3, it's there.
Carson, I have a quick question for you. You do not believe that there is enough demand there, that demand is slowing up. What is that based on? Is that just based on a gut feeling, based on the fact that they are now lowering the price on this vehicle as well as the Model S and the Model X? Or do you have other data, anything that you can point to say, look, there is no doubt that they are slowing down in terms of demand?
So lowering the prices, especially to points where it seems like they're losing money on some of the cars, I'd say is a giveaway. Also, it's the delivery times. If you go on the websites, the anticipated delivery times for the cars now are pretty short. So it seems like they're probably not building new cars to satisfy that demand, but rather pulling cars out of existing inventory stockpiles. And those stockpiles are pretty well chronicled on the internet with lots of photos of parking lots brimming with Teslas. So that's why we also think that there's a demand issue here.
Well, that certainly didn't age well. Now, what lessons can we learn from that 2019 segment? Well, simply, as we heard, his main thesis was that Tesla was going bankrupt, and now with confirmation bias, muddy waters clouding his ability to see clearly. See what I did there? You probably don't, but his short-selling firm called Muddy Waters. Here's some of the supposed reasons that he assumed quite strongly that there was no demand. As he said, Tesla has reduced prices on their vehicles. As he said, that's a giveaway that there's no demand. Is this the point where we refer to Tesla's secret master plan, which is not secret and been published on their website for years, explaining that they're going to continue to drive the cost of their vehicles down so more people can buy them, accelerating the world's transition to sustainable energy? If Tesla's prices are going down, they're in line with their mission. This is one of the most obvious recurring mistakes that Tesla short sellers made. I mean, guys, it's on their fucking website. They literally tell us exactly what they're going to do. They're going to keep driving the prices of their vehicles down. And by the way, this still applies today. They're going to keep driving the prices of their vehicles down indefinitely so more people can afford them. It's on their fucking website. But clearly, that's a giveaway that there's no demand. And the second thing there, the fact that delivery times on the website were reduced automatically must mean that they're not making any new vehicles and they're just trying to sell out their existing inventory. I mean, you can't draw these kind of conclusions. Certainly, it's interesting information. But drawing these kind of conclusions, extrapolating out from this, there's not enough evidence there to determine one way or the other. But of course, if your judgment is clouded, well, sure, yeah, this is obviously evidence pointing to the fact that there's no demand. And the final point there, the photos of the cars. I remember this stuff floating around on Twitter. It's so hilarious, right? A Tesla Q dum-dum would fly a drone over a Tesla car park, see a few cars parked and assume, oh shit, they can't sell their cars. Look, they're all parked here. There's hundreds of them. Oh my God, there's no demand. Failing to realize that kind of makes sense for Tesla to build a bunch of cars first, then start putting those cars on trucks and or boats and shipping them to customers in bulk rather than one by one. And that brings us to the present moment. Let's see what our good friend and ex-Tesla short seller had to say about both Tesla stock and, of course, Elon Musk.
Now, new this morning, longtime activist short seller Carson Block is out with his first ever investor letter, and it is a doozy. According to sources familiar with Block's Domino Fund, which launched in February, the letter was sent to investors on Wednesday morning. Block describes how the GameStop short squeeze earlier this year spooked some of his investors, and he ended up starting the Domino Fund with significantly less than $70 million he had planned. Currently, He's got about $30 million of commitments, though through August 6th, Domino had returned just shy of 11%.
Okay, so first of all, looks like the fund is off to a pretty good start. Almost 11% returns in about 6 months. If he can keep that up, I'm sure that many investors will be quite happy. Second of all, just to give you guys some context, he's managing around $30 million. That's about 7 times more than I currently manage, but I'm managing only my own money, and he obviously has money from external investors. And this brings me to a really fun question. I'd love to know, so let me know in the comments below, guys. If I were to start an investment fund, and I'm not going to, want to make that really clear, I'm not going to, but hypothetically speaking, if I were to start an investment fund, would you invest? And if so, how much? And actually think about this. Don't just pull some number out of your ass. Think about how much you actually have available, how much you consider investing. Just for fun, hypothetically, let me know in the comments below.
Join us right now to talk about the fund and so many of the other interesting revelations from that letter. On interest rates, Elon Musk, Chamath Palihapitiya is Muddy Waters Capital founder. Carson Block, good morning to you.
Morning.
Let's go through the letter, because it is, as I said, it's a doozy, and you are honest. I should say this letter is not necessarily family friendly. There's some language in this letter, but let's start with Elon Musk, because he's somebody I know that has frustrated the short sellers for quite some time, but it appears that you may have come around on him.
Well, and actually, I know you want to start with Elon, Andrew, but I just want to talk about the rates, because that's what got me to Elon, right? Like I woke up last week, 3 a.m. one morning, kind of in a panic, because I had this realization that I think in order to decarbonize the economy, I think central banks within several years are going to make it their express policy to keep rates basically at real rates at zero or negative levels. And but I thought, like, is this actually effective? And that took me to Tesla. And here's the thing. I have been extremely critical over the years of Elon Musk, because he has lied a lot. He's broken a lot of laws. I don't like the way that Tesla rushes, I think, or encourages people to use full self-driving technology that is not full self-driving. And I think that makes the rest of us somewhat less safe on the roads.
All right, have to jump in here. Can't let all of this slide. I just want to talk about some of the reasons why this guy has been so extremely critical of Elon Musk over the years. The 3 points there, he starts out claiming that Elon Musk lies a lot. Name one example. Now, I'm not talking about a missed timeline, being optimistic. That is not lying, okay? That is being optimistic. I'm talking about a lie. When has Elon Musk ever lied? Anyone, please let me know in the comments below. Mistake number 1 of Tesla short sellers, thinking Elon Musk is dishonest. He's one of the most open, transparent, and honest people on the planet. Remember, he has personally said that he believes the price of Tesla stock is too high. He openly talks on earnings call about massive mistakes that he and others at Tesla has made. There isn't a dishonest bone in the guy's body. Seriously, Carson, bro, you have completely misread Elon Musk. I have consumed everything that Elon has ever said in the public domain. Literally all of it. I've been fanboying over this guy since the early days of SpaceX's initial rocket failures. I haven't caught Elon lying once about anything. Never once have I caught him intentionally deceiving or misleading anyone on anything about anything. And speaking of honesty, I'm not really sure how to say this delicately, but I don't really mind about being an abrasive, obnoxious prick. For somebody's radar, in terms of judging the character of other people, to be so off, it's the emotional equivalent of an intellectual disability. And I don't mean this to be insulting, I mean this honestly. This is how I view this. If you can so completely mischaracterize and misjudge somebody, their intentions, their integrity, their honesty, you are prone to make enormously poor decisions in your personal life when it comes to anything to do with emotions and other human beings. This is a legitimate disability. An ability would be to accurately assess people's intentions, their integrity, their character. A disability is the polar opposite, and we see this as a recurring theme among Tesla short sellers. They are emotionally disabled, they are emotionally impaired, and they can't correctly assess Elon Musk's character, and everything else flows from there. Same mistake every time. Zero exceptions. And speaking of everything flowing from this disability, he's broken a lot of laws. Please send me the gigantic list of all of the laws that Elon Musk has broken. Admittedly, Elon Musk did get fined by the Short Seller Enrichment Commission, the Suck Elon's Cock, for the 420 taking private tweet. That's all I got. That's it. A tweet. Oh, and by the way, just to be really clear, personally, I don't think that there's anything intrinsically wrong with breaking laws. I think we should all make our own decisions, our own judgments, and act accordingly. I've personally broken thousands upon thousands of laws, changing my own consciousness. Come at me, bro. And finally, we have the colossally brain dead, I mean, honestly, just incredibly dumb argument that full self-driving is somehow dangerous or misleading or deceptive as well. Now, if you didn't actually get trained on how to use the software and need to actually pay attention or monitor, I can see an argument for, hang on, maybe consumers are so incredibly dumb that they read that it says full self-driving and then they assume that it can actually drive the car and then they don't monitor, don't pay attention, end up crashing into other people or killing themselves. Then you'd have a valid point. But anyone who actually has experience using a Tesla or has even done a little bit of homework in how this works will understand this isn't how things operate. Literally nobody with the intellectual capacity to safely drive a vehicle and therefore have a driver's license in the first place can mistakenly assume that full self-driving is fully autonomous software as it is today. It doesn't happen. It can't happen. You have to monitor, okay? There's safety mechanisms in place. Even if you try and cheat the system, it's an absolute pain in the ass to try to get around it and do something unsafe. Of course, the predictable argument from the short on brain cells, wait, did I say that right? Anyway, is of course, well, they shouldn't call it full self-driving until it can fully self-drive. And I can actually understand this argument. However, from a branding point of view, why would you do that? Why would you have 12 different iterations of the software that says slightly self-driving, and then once you're a little bit better, you scrap that completely, go, well, now it's called partial self-driving, and then eventually we scrap that and we call, this is almost full self-driving, then we scrap that, and now we finally have full self-driving. When you can start building the awareness around this software package from day one as what it's ultimately going to be, hinting also at the fact that it will get better over time via over-the-air updates. The point that I'm getting at here is these Tesla Q folks are scraping the bottom of the barrel here. The name of the software package doesn't matter, okay? When you buy a Tesla on the website, it tells you exactly what the software package is capable of doing. The name doesn't matter. It could be called Jizzlord for all I care. It doesn't matter. People see what the features are, and in addition to that, nobody can get into Tesla under the false assumption because of the name of the package that the car is fully autonomous and then drive without monitoring or paying attention. It can't happen. This is a moot point. This is all they've got. Really, scraping the bottom of the barrel.
But the reality is, Tesla has dragged the world's major auto manufacturers into taking electric vehicle design and production seriously. So it would have happened eventually, but for Tesla, it would not be happening to the extent it is now. And so that presents this moral quandary, right? When you look at somebody like Elon Musk, who, I don't think he's a particularly great human being.
Do we just ignore the fact that Elon Musk has spent every waking hour of his professional life for the last 30 plus years trying to make the world a better place? He's invested every spare cent that he had, literally had to borrow money from friends to pay rent, sleeps on factory floors, is constantly sleep deprived, has had multiple marriage breakdowns as a result of being so intensely focused on trying to make the future better for people, has endured incredible amounts of personal and professional pain as a result of this, and still keeps marching forward. Has single-handedly, yes, single-handedly forced the world, accelerated the world's transition to sustainable energy, is helping to pave the way to make life multiplanetary. How on earth do you possibly characterize this person as not a great human being? I mean, Carson, dude, like seriously, man to man, something's wrong, dude. Like something's broken. Your radar either needs major repairs or just a straight up replacement.
But he, is really what drove so much of this. And where Schwartz had been wrong was thinking, okay, well, Tesla can never be economic because it doesn't have scale. Well, they've been right and wrong. So Tesla's not economic. I mean, if you take out the accounting maneuvers, if you take out, the way that it's kind of con investors into buying vaporware well in advance, in the subsidies and the credit and the carbon credits, it's not an economic business.
I just can't deal with. I just cannot deal with this. I mean, bro, it's 2021. You've got access to information. I've been over this like so many. You know what? Back to the analogy of the nice guy, this is the same thing. It's just an absolutely absurd narrative, completely detached from reality, counter to all evidence, yet still being fervently pursued. If I just fix a toilet enough times, and if I'm just there for enough emotional support, and I like enough of her Instagram posts, and tell her how pretty she looks every time she posts something new, and blow up her DMs, and ask how she's doing in the morning, and say goodnight by text message, if I just keep doing this, she's obviously gonna know what a nice guy I am, stop dating all those assholes, and then play a complete symphony on my skin flute, obviously.
But what shorts were thinking was it can't be economic because it doesn't have the scale. And, we were thinking scale in terms of unit sales and manufacturing base. But really the only scale that matters is capital base. How big is the market cap? Because as long as it's a mega market cap, Tesla can continue to raise money to subsidize these non-economic vehicles.
All right. Let me translate for you guys. Everything I've ever said about Tesla and Elon Musk in the past was completely right, but the stock market is dumb. And as long as the stock market stays dumb, aka Tesla has a really high valuation, then nothing else matters. I was right all along, but it doesn't even matter. So I'll stop shorting Tesla stock, because even though everything I said about Tesla and Elon was completely correct, there's no demand, they can't make any money, it's not an economic business. It doesn't matter because the valuation's high. Therefore, I'm completely right. So fuck you, everybody.
And that really, like I said, has driven the large auto manufacturers to significantly shift their resources and their thinking. So that this is a creature also of these very low rates. So absent these low rates and absent Elon Musk, we're not at this point in the evolution of the electric vehicle. And it's an interesting moral conundrum.
Some interesting comments there. It's a moral conundrum. Now, allow me to read into the tea leaves here and hallucinate what I think the subtext is here. I think what he's getting at, without saying it directly, is that Elon Musk has somehow immorally created this Tesla valuation, this company. He's done all sorts of things that are dishonest and unethical, blah, 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 blah. Tesla's got a crazy valuation. It's all because Elon Musk's a liar and a fraud and blah, 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 blah. And that's really terrible, but it's good that Elon Musk, because he's very immoral and unethical and lied and blah, 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 has at least forced other automakers to start making EVs. So that's good, but Elon Musk's a liar and Tesla's a fraud. Maybe I'm imagining things. What do you guys think he was getting at there?
Look, there's so many things to unpack here. Let me first go with the interest rate issue, because this realization in the middle of the night, you say that you've woken up believing that central banks are going to keep interest rates low to help decarbonize the world. Explain that.
Well, so when I woke up, so kind of a panic, because when you're a short seller, rates at these levels are not your friend. And I've seen a lot of really smart investors go out of business over the years, really because they were right in their theses, but it didn't matter because rates are low. So my first thought was, oh my God, I think this is going to happen, but why? And so I unpacked it initially by thinking about Elon Musk and how this low rate environment has enabled this, the development of EVs effectively at the major auto manufacturers. That's what is necessary. I mean, because these are not economic. Decarbonizing.
But Carson, you think that Jay Powell or Christine Lagarde are thinking about decarbonization when they think about where to put interest rates?
Not at this point, but I think in a few years, yes. Because coming out of the global financial crisis, and we had this emergency monetary policy for over 10 years, even though we weren't still in that emergency. And then we had another emergency, COVID. So that's obviously going to keep rates low for just some period of time. But I think the next wave of thinking will be, we do need to decarbonize. Governments allocating, money from their budgets is not going to do it. This is the way it has to be done. It's a quasi-market solution, really.
Carson, it just related to Elon Musk, and I know you don't like him as a person or his character, but at some level, if you believe in decarbonizing the economy and the world, don't you have to give him perhaps, I don't know, the ultimate, but a lot of credit for pushing us and moving us in that direction?
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Look, I'm not an environmentalist. I'm a car guy. I don't have an electric vehicle. I don't like them nearly as much as I like internal combustion engines.
Fancy that. Could it be possible that Carson's love of the internal combustion engine may also partially be clouding his judgment about Tesla? This is something that I've seen with other short sellers. Shout out to Tim Seymour.
I use the air conditioning all the time. So I don't like to admit this, but the reality is this is not a sustainable lifestyle. And Elon Musk combined with low rates, Elon has done what he's had to do in order to build the market cap, to build the capital base of Tesla, to give Tesla the scale that tells the major auto manufacturers, you need to start doing this too. So yeah, I have to give him credit, but this is not without costs also. I do think that, look, obviously keeping rates, real rates at zero or close to zero or negative is going to increase inequality in society. So if I'm correct about this future, think about this. Financial assets are going to continue to rise. There's going to continue to be a bifurcation between the have and have-nots. By the way, a decarbonized economy is significantly more expensive. So there will be real inflation that comes about as a result of decarbonization. And then the other thing that, something I've been really lamenting for a few years is how the United States, the rule of law in the US, and say a lot of other liberal democracies is eroding. And I think that the financial markets are an important part of that, because when ordinary people who are falling behind look and see how the elite in society have basically, gamed the system for themselves and are doing so well while everybody else is struggling, that creates discontent. That creates vitriol directed towards institutions.
I completely agree with this point from Carson. There's certainly a large segment of people in the lower rungs of the socio-economic ladder who see people who are more financially prosperous, and their immediate reaction is hate, vitriol, etc. And this is why you see wits like Robert Reich preying on and pandering to these people, channeling this hate towards billionaires, using that as a dirty term, etc.
And Elon Musk, when Elon Musk can get away with flouting the law and the rules, that is corrosive to the rule of law in the markets and therefore society.
So in the imaginary land where Elon Musk is a law-breaking criminal, he's corrosive to society. I think that's what he was getting at there.
It has costs, letting him get away with helping push us to this transition. It's not cost-free.
Two things. One, of course, Elon Musk would say that he hasn't flouted the law, but more importantly, when I ask about, and this relates to meme stocks, because one of the things that's fascinating to me about Tesla is, in some ways, Tesla was able to manifest its own destiny because shareholders were willing to continue to provide it with capital. And one of the things we're now seeing in the context of an AMC potentially, or GameStop, or other companies like this, there are shareholders that believe that they can manifest their own destiny, which means to some degree that the share price is disconnected from the fundamentals, at least in the context that we've historically known them, because they believe that if they hold the shares long enough, and if they potentially provide more capital to these companies, that they can create success. And how you think that changes the market, or do you think that this is a sort of aberration of history?
Well, in a low-rate environment, where I guess the big picture point here is, in a low-rate environment, the conventional metrics that we think of as economic returns don't matter. So Elon could get away with it because he built cars, and he continues to build cars, and he built rockets. So whatever visions the shareholders have for GameStop, for AMC, for them to transform, I think eventually the managements, they don't necessarily have to generate economic returns, at least again, the way we think of, historically thought of economic returns, but they have to manifest, they have to be able to achieve their investors' ambitions at some level, or I think they get washed out. And the corollary to all of this is, well, gee, I'm an activist short seller, can I still make money? And I think the answer is yes, because the vast majority of people, of managements who sell these dreams to investors are going to be unable to execute. They will be unable to do the things that Elon Musk has done. And I think the trick for us isn't to try to sort out the non-economic business models. I think it's just to look at the people running these businesses and say, okay, who is going to be unable to meet the investor expectations?
Given how faulty Carson's radar happens to be, I'm guessing that would imply that he's probably a big fan of Trevor Meltdown Milton and has a very large long position in Nikola stock. I'm just kidding, no one's that dumb. But seriously, Carson, some words of advice from an obnoxious prick on YouTube. Given how faulty your radar seems to be at assessing people, their integrity, their values, their honesty, etc., you may be playing with fire here. You're saying the right things, determining which companies won't actually be able to execute on what they're promising, companies that have leaders that aren't actually going to be able to successfully lead them to achieving their goals. That's a great strategy. But that strategy also hinges on your ability to correctly make those assessments. And I'm not sure that's your strong point. Of course, I'm only basing this on one very obvious example, and that would be Tesla and Elon Musk. Maybe your track record outside this is stunning. This is just an aberration. But be very careful, my friend. I don't want to be making another video talking about how your assets under management have shrunk to $2 million from 30.
In terms of XYZ goals that they want to achieve, but really with a lot of this, stop talking about profit and cash flow and look at what the investors are expecting and who can pull that off.
So Carson, I'll throw a name out there. Adam Aaron, AMC. Can he pull it off?
To be honest, I haven't. That is such an area of pain for me, and I'm still smarting about the lower long size because these meme stocks, I don't pay any attention to AMC. I just want to make sure the things that I'm looking at shorting or I am short are not turning into meme stocks.
Can I throw out the name GameStop? Are you still smarting there?
I mean, look, and I have to be careful here legally because, I'm not, we're not registered to sell securities in these funds to the general public. But, we obviously had a smaller launch than we wanted, and it was directly related to the pain that GameStop inflicted on Melvin Capital and other shorts. It really, and actually I think the last time I was on your show, it was basically trying to answer the question of is there any future in short selling? Is there any point to what we do? Right. A lot of people are asking that question. And because people are asking that question, we got, fewer people actually writing checks at launch than we had, anticipated. Am I still smarting over it? No, I'm just trying to survive, and net, it made us smarter as investors. And the hard lessons from last year, I think, have made us smarter as investors too.
Well, I certainly do hope Carson is right and he is becoming a smarter investor. I just hope that he's smart enough to realize that radar needs a repair or a complete and utter replacement. I'm Stephen Mark Ryan. This is Solving the Money Problem, and I love you all. And don't forget the BlockFi Bitcoin Rewards credit card, where you can earn 1.5% Bitcoin back on every purchase. There's a link in the description. You can also earn up to $250 in crypto bonuses when funding a new account on BlockFi, also linked below. And finally, don't forget your free stocks with WeBull and Stake, also linked in the description. These great offers also help out the channel. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And of course, if you have any ideas for future videos, let me know. I read all your comments. P.S. If you're still watching, you're awesome. If you'd like early access, exclusive videos, regular Q&As, our private Discord server and more, consider supporting the channel at patreon.com/solvingthemoneyproblem so I can keep creating content for you guys. There's a link in the description. You can now also become a member of the channel for some exclusive perks. To learn more, click the join button next to subscribe. And don't forget to check out our merch store. Either way, the best form of support is you being here and watching, so thanks again.